Okay, so I want you to just picture the scene for a second. Harare Sports Club, Zimbabwe. It's a World Cup final. The pressure is just, it's suffocating. And normally when we think of finals, we're sort of conditioned to expect, a gritty, low-scoring thriller.
Right, a real chess match.
Yeah.
Everyone's afraid to make a mistake.
Exactly. But then you look at what happened this weekend at the 2026 ICC Under-19 World Cup, and India didn't just rip up that script, they basically set it on fire.
Yeah, that's one way to put
They
it.
didn't just win their 6th title, which is a record. They put on a performance that I think it fundamentally changes how we even look at youth cricket.
It's a huge claim, but looking at the data we've been digging into for this, I'm with you. A 100-run win over a strong England side is impressive on paper, but the way they did it,
The sheer violence of the batting.
that's the real story.
Absolutely.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're not just here to say, hey, congrats. We need to unpack the how, because when I was going through the match reports, two things just jumped off the page at me.
1, the tactical maturity of this team, and 2, a level of raw, explosive talent from one specific player that is, frankly, a little bit terrifying.
Terrifying is the right word. We are, I think, seeing a complete shift in what a teenage cricketer can even be.
We're definitely going to spend a lot of time on the 14-year-old. Yes, you heard that right, 14, who just shattered world records. But I want to start with the collective.
The foundation.
Yes, because the headline number is just staggering. India posts 411 for 9 in a 50-over final.
It's absurd. I mean, let's just break that down for a minute. To get to 411, you're scoring at over 8.2 runs and over.
For 50 overs.
For 50 overs. You see that in a T20, sure. But to keep that intensity up for, 3.5 hours in a final? That needs a batting lineup so deep, most senior international teams would be jealous.
And it started right from the toss, didn't it? India wins it, chooses to bat. Now, usually there's a debate there, right? Bowl first, use the morning conditions.
Of course.
But this felt aggressive. It felt like a statement from minute 1.
It's a massive statement of intent. You're looking your opponent in the eye and saying, we're going to bat you out of this game before you even pick up a bat. And look, the pitch at Harare was good, but 4-11 isn't just good conditions. That's pure domination.
Here's the thing, though, that really hit me when I looked at England's response. The margin is 100 runs. So you might think, oh, England collapsed.
Right, you'd assume they were rolled for, 150 or something.
But they weren't. You look at their scorecard. They scored 3 and 11.
And this is the crucial context. Thank you for bringing that up. 3 at 11 in a World Cup final is 9 times out of 10 a winning score.
Absolutely.
If India had put up a normal good score, say 280, England lifts that trophy. England played well. They just ran into an absolute buzzsaw.
That's what makes it so wild. The English batting unit actually performed. They built partnerships, kept the rate going. But because India had set that ceiling so impossibly high, 311 just felt like they were falling short the whole time.
It psychologically crushes the chase before it even starts. When you walk out needing 412, the pressure on every single dot ball just multiplies. You can't just rotate the strike. You have to find the boundary constantly.
And that's where the Indian bowlers deserve some credit, too. They didn't panic.
No, they didn't. They knew runs would be scored on that pitch. So their job wasn't to shut it down completely. It was to take wickets at key moments. Break the rhythm.
It felt like they were happy to trade runs for wickets.
Which you could afford to do when you've got 400 in the bank. But let's be honest, we can analyze the bowling all day, but the reason this game is going down in history, it's because of that first innings.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get to the elephant in the room. Or maybe the baby-faced assassin in the room, Vaibhav Suryavanshi.
A name we're going to be hearing for a very, very long time.
I was looking at his stat line, and I genuinely thought the website had a bug. 175 runs.
In a final.
Off just 80 balls.
It's video game numbers. It's not real.
No, seriously, I did the math. That's a strike rate of 218.75 in a 50-over match. If you strike at 100 in ODI, you're having a good day. 150 is world class. Over 200 is... What is that?
But different sport. And think about the attack he's facing. This is England U19. These aren't club bowlers. These are guys in county systems, probably on the radar for the 100.
And he treated them with just complete disdain.
Total disdain. The reports describe it as a 360-degree assault. It wasn't just slogging. It was proper cricket shots, just with unbelievable power, lofted drives, pulls. everything.
He broke the record for most sixes in a U19 World Cup innings. He broke the record for the highest score in a final.
It was like he was playing a T20 innings, but he just forgot to stop. Usually a knock like that is 30 balls, you get a quick 60, and you're out. To sustain it for 175 runs, that shows a level of fitness and concentration that's just off the charts.
But here's the kicker. This is the fact that makes this whole thing feel like science fiction. Vaibhav Suryavanshi is 14 years old.
It shouldn't be physically possible.
I mean, just think about the biology for a second. The physical difference between a 14-year-old and a 19-year-old is enormous. Muscle mass, bone density, raw power.
A 19-year-old is basically a fully grown adult athlete. A 14-year-old is, well, he's a kid.
Right. In any other power sport, that gap is insurmountable. A 14-year-old shouldn't have the strength to consistently clear the ropes against 19-year-old fast bowlers.
Which tells you his technique and his timing must be so ridiculously perfect that they just make up for the physical gap. It's the only explanation.
It reminds me of the stories about Sachin Tendulkar starting young, but even Sachin wasn't doing this in a World Cup final at 14. This feels like an evolution of the game.
It is an evolution. It's a product of the modern game. These kids grow up watching the IPL. They're fearless. The idea of playing yourself in is gone. Suryavanshi is from the first generation that has only known hyper-aggressive cricket. He probably doesn't even have a defensive mode.
The former players quoted in our sources are calling it a signature World Cup knock, a real where were you when moment.
And it just raises the bar for everyone. Yeah. If you're a 17-year-old batsman now, making a patient 50 doesn't cut it anymore. The standard has been set by a kid who can't even get his driver's license yet.
Okay, but, and this is where we have to balance the hype a little bit. Cricket is a team game. One player doesn't win you a tournament. What happens if Suryavanshi gets a golden duck? Does India still win?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And based on what we saw through the whole tournament, I think the answer is probably yes.
Really?
Yeah. Because while the 14-year-old was the fireworks, the team structure was the rock-solid foundation. This was no one-man show.
Which brings us to the leadership, the captain, Ayush Mahatre. It must be a really tricky thing to captain a team with a prodigy like that in it. It changes the whole dynamic.
It does, but Matre's leadership was all about what analysts are calling big match temperament.
So break that down. What does that actually mean? What did you see him do?
Well, look at the final again. When England was counterattacking, scoring fast, it's so easy for a young captain to lose the plot there, start yelling, changing the field every ball, just looking panicked. But Patri was calm. He trusted his bowlers. He stuck to his plans. And that calmness, it's contagious. If your captain is steady, the fielders stay sharp. He made sure the intensity never dropped.
And looking at their strategy throughout the tournament, it seems like the blueprint was clear. Go hard and go hard early.
Yes. They front-loaded the aggression. They didn't try to save wickets for the end. They trusted their batting depth, which meant the top order was just free to attack.
That idea of depth being like an insurance policy is so key, isn't it?
Exactly.
When you know the guys at number 7 and 8 can really bat, the guys at the top are completely liberated. They're not afraid of a collapse.
And that mental freedom is what allows a Suryavanshi to play the way he does. He knows he's not the last line of defense. He has backup.
I want to pivot to something that I think gets lost in the 4-11 run madness. If you only look at the final, you might think this team just bulldozed everyone on flat pitches.
Right, that they're just flat-track bullies.
But I was looking at the semifinal against Afghanistan, and that match tells a totally different story.
I am so glad you brought that up. In my opinion, the semifinal was the game that actually won them the World Cup.
Yeah.
The final was the party. The semi was the test.
How so?
Well, the roles were completely reversed. India was chasing, and Afghanistan, with their spinners, is an incredibly tricky team to chase against.
And chasing in a knockout game? It's a different beast psychologically.
Totally different. When you bat first, it's all freedom. When you chase, every single run the opposition scores just adds another brick to that backpack you're carrying.
And it was a challenging total, not a walkover.
No, not at all. And there were moments in that chase where the game was right in the balance. The top order didn't just blast their way to victory. They had to grind. They had to run hard, respect the good balls.
That proves they have more than one gear, doesn't it? If they were just 6 hitters, Afghanistan's spinners would have tied them in knots.
Precisely. The semi showed they had grit. The final showed they had flair. You absolutely need both to be a champion team. It proves they're complete.
It's interesting you say complete because that's the whole point of U19 cricket, isn't it? It's not just about the trophy. It's about the pipeline.
The trophy's nice, sure, but for the cricket board, this is all about the next 15 years of the senior national team. And the verdict from this tournament is that the Indian talent pipeline is it's overflowing.
We've seen U19 stars who fade, though. What makes you think this group is different?
I think it's the combination of skills. In the past, you'd get a player who was technically perfect but couldn't hit a six, or a slogger who couldn't defend a good ball. This group seems to have merged those two worlds.
They have the classical game and the modern power game.
They've got both. They can survive the tough periods, like against Afghanistan, and they can dominate, like against England.
So we've got a record 6th title. We've got how tactical maturity and raw aggression. And a 14-year-old phenom and a calm captain.
It's a pretty scary combination for the rest of the world.
But I want to end on that thought about the future. We're looking at Vaibhav Suryavanshi. He's 14. He just dropped 175 in a World Cup final.
It's uncharted territory.
So play the futurist for a second. What happens next? Because we've seen prodigies burn out from the pressure.
And that is the huge danger here. The media spotlight on this kid is going to be blinding. Every time he fails now, people will be asking what's wrong. He seems tough, but growing up in public is brutal.
But if he doesn't burn out, what's the ceiling?
If he stays on this path and he keeps developing physically, we can honestly be looking at the most destructive batsman the game has ever seen. Imagine him at 20 years old with full adult strength plus 6 more years of experience.
He could change how the game is played.
Fundamentally. And it's not just him. Autry, the bowlers. This whole group seems ready to step up almost immediately. The gap between U19 and senior cricket feels like it's shrinking.
They're oven ready, as they say.
They really are. They train like pros and they play like pros.
Well, the cricket world has officially been put on notice, and it was a 14-year-old who delivered the message.
I, for one, can't wait to see what he does next.
It's going to be a fascinating decade. So remember the name, Vaibhav Suryavanshi. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.